Once again, welcome to my channel. If you've been following up my tips, thank you. If you subscribe, thank you. I also encourage you guys who haven't subscribed to please do well to do that. So today we're going to be talking about, in a previous series, talked about how to manage our time and attention. Our time and attention when it comes to ladies, when it comes to dealing with ladies, how not to waste our time or waste our attention on ladies who do not necessarily reciprocate the same action. Okay, so today we'll be talking about our resources in terms of finances. I will be speaking particularly about finances. Now, most guys don't know how to manage their finances when it comes to ladies that they like, how not to waste their finances, how to put their finances into proper use when it comes to dealing with a particular lady of your choice. Now, unlike our previous should I say section, we talked about just attention and we talked about time. Okay, now that is in the assumption that you're just meeting the lady for the first time, your first early engagement with the lady. But when it comes to giving out finances, I would advise, before you start dedicating or giving out your finances to a lady, you guys have gone beyond that talking stage, that first stage, and probably she's now officially your girlfriend, or she's showing signs that looks like she might end up being your girlfriend, or she's basically giving you the green light consistently. Okay, then how do you manage your resources around them? Because the truth of the matter is, from my experience in the dating market, ladies, especially in Nigeria, would demand your resources. Okay, ladies will demand your resources, and you know the irony, even if the lady is the one making the move on you, or you are the one making the move on her, she will demand your resources. Okay, make her talk am very well, they will understand. Even though saying that the lady they disturb you, say May 12 on that day, or now you they disturb her, she would at one point in time in your process of discussing or being friends demand resources from you. So how do we know how to properly give out the resources in order not to be finessed, in order not to be played, and in order not to waste our resources? How do we know when to? For guys, okay, when it comes to relationship with ladies, there are several kinds of relationships you can have you have with them. If it's just as I'm a guy, and as a guy who more or less wants to teach guys how to maneuver their way in the dating market, how to get ladies, whether be ladies you want for serious relationship or ladies you just want for the purpose of sex, casual relationship. So whichever be the case, as a guy, you must learn to compartmentalize. You must learn to kind of arrange ladies in this section. The ladies you want to take serious, the ladies you just want to have sex with, the ladies you just want to have around necessarily without necessarily just having sex with or being in a serious relationship. So you must be able to separate them. I'll specifically start talking from the ladies you want to take serious for a relationship. When you find yourself in a situation whereby you've gone above the talking stage, you're now in what I would call a serious state in discussing or talking with a lady that you want to take serious. How do you manage your resource with her? Now, when it comes to that case and you guys are already talking well, the communication is fluid, it's back and forth, it's mutual, and maybe already she has already agreed to be your girlfriend, or she's just in the process of agreeing to be your girlfriend. I always tell guys, this is what the matter is, guys, I would not advise anybody or any guy to buy the idea of saying Nigerian girls are all about money, or saying Nigerian girls are all about money, or girls too like money, or guys should be stingy. No. Now, that's especially if she's someone that you want to take serious. I state specifically, if she's the type of lady that you want to take serious. Now, if she passed that test and she is in that position whereby she's that lady you want to take serious, or already is in a early relationship with, how do you go about spending your resources with her? Take my word for it, part of what every man must bring to the table is the resource, financial resources. I'm talking strictly on finances now. Okay, but the way you give it out matters a lot. You don't overdo it and you don't underdo it, because most guys don't understand that ladies would gauge how much you love them with how much financial resources you give them. That's how they think, even though that doesn't make any sense. Ladies will gauge the amount of love you have for them with how much money you give them or how much gifts you give them. So what that means is, even if you meet a lady that has money, lady who is into business and she's doing well, she would still expect money from you, not only because she needs the money, but also because she wants to gauge how much sacrifice financially you can make as someone who is, let's say, in a relationship with her, towards trying to make her happy. So finances are important. You cannot take away finances when it comes to relationship. So since we're talking about a lady that you want to date, or you're already dating, or you're close to dating, I'll get down to the numbers. As a guy, as a man, for you to really even be in control of that relationship, you should be able to financing most of her basic needs. I say most of her let me not use the word most, because at this point I say you guys are just starting a relationship. Let me say about 40 to 45% of her basic needs. Take for example, if she reaches out to you for recharge card to make calls, you must oblige, especially if you have the money. There's nothing wrong in that. You're not being a simp. Okay, let's say 5,000 a month, 3,000 a month. If you feel very comfortable with 10,000 a month for let's say recharge card and data, that's fine. Go ahead and do that, as if it doesn't take anything away from you. This is someone that you love, don't forget, or someone that you like and you want to start something serious with. So go ahead. Okay, sometimes occasionally money to do her hair, because don't find yourself in a situation whereby she's always asking for it back and forth. Okay, because your pride should be giving her money. She does her hair and you take her on a date and you say, yes, let me do this hair for you. There's nothing wrong in that. Don't forget, at this point I said she's a girl you want to make your girlfriend. You guys are close to becoming in a relationship, or she's already your girlfriend. That's the first stage. So let's say once in a month you can decide to make her hair. 7,000, maximum 10. If you're so rich, you're so boxed up, let's say 20,000 to make her hair. Okay, like I said, when you're doing this, don't make it too consistent. Don't make it feel like you should also be in a position whereby you can tell her. For example, some ladies, they always like to exploit guys. So take for example, she makes her hair on Monday. Okay, by next week Monday, she's asking for money for her. No, that becomes a case whereby she's trying to exploit you. She wants to do all the hair in the world because she has somebody who is willing to give her money. Then you must be able to put her in check. No, if I give you 20k this month, probably the next 2 months, I may want to give you another 20k to make your hair again. Okay, it should be when you are happy to do so, and it shouldn't be consistent. Okay, money to buy cream, if she asks, you can oblige. Perfume, you can oblige. She comes to you for rent. Some ladies don't have that sense to know that, especially at the early stage, you shouldn't be talking about rent with a guy, but ladies are like that. She comes to you for rent, don't completely pay for the rent, please. That's to me, that's simpish behavior. Okay, you can contribute, assist her, make her understand why you're assisting. You can always come up with stories about financial constraint or whatsoever, but I don't advise guys to go completely, because ladies, they would naturally take advantage of this, and they would just, if for example her rent is 150 and you pay off, that's a lot of money to commit, especially at that early stage. She would then assume that she would just indirectly she just convert you to a maga. That's committing too much resource, especially at the early stage. So you can just give her 40k if you're so generous, 50k, and that's about that. She beckons on you to help out rent. Okay, so those minor things, if you have the money, if you don't find yourself strained, go ahead and assist her with. I spoke about hair, I spoke about recharge card, and I want something I advise guys to do, and something I do is, especially when a lady, you're the lady that you guys are already talking. Well, like I said, you guys must have already gotten to the stage whereby she's just about being your girlfriend. She's already your girlfriend. That's the first stage. You can go ahead and go on Jumia online, look for a very pretty gown, and say, hey, I'd like you to be on this. Send her the link. Tell her to pick her size and everything, and you order it for her. You can do this once a month. Okay? You can do this once in 2 months. I told you they like finances, and they like when you buy these gifts. Okay? Now, I want to state again, it's not for a girl you're meeting for the first time. No, it's not for a girl that doesn't give you that time and attention when you require. No, I'm talking about a girl that has passed through all that first stage I mentioned in my first session, and you guys are talking very fluently, back to back. She's calling you, you're calling her. She's kind of your girlfriend already, but you guys haven't made it official. Or she's just a girlfriend, let's say she just newly became your girlfriend. Then you must bring in your part financially. That's what a guy brings to the table, is the finances, and holding it back is not a good idea. So like I said, it's all about using your head. I just use these examples. There are several examples that she might ask you. Maybe sandals, you can buy her 1 or 2 sandals, maybe once in a month. You can buy her 2 sandals, depending on how you're feeling. Don't put yourself in a position whereby it feels like you're strained. If you don't have the finances, be free to tell her without looking back. Okay, if she asks you for something, okay, even if it's as small as 5k and you don't have, let her know. But if you do have more than enough without causing strain on yourself, oblige. And like I said, you should know, don't make it feel like you're consistently being exploited or seen as an ATM. Once you notice that, you must continue to check, because you guys have not gotten to the extent. Is when she becomes your wife or your fiancé, then you can be a little loose with your finances. But when you guys are just still at the early stage of just dating, you must always put that check factor. When it seems that she's always asking for, let's say, something as small as data, you should check that also. If you're giving her 3k or 4k in a month, that's enough for that month. Whether she exhausts it or not, that's her problem. You must put that discipline. The idea is for her not to feel like you are easy to extort resources, financial resources from, because when she feels or she has that idea or notion, she's going to exploit it and take advantage of it. Okay, you should give, but you must control the lever or the knob for your giving at that early stage. Okay, now let's switch it over. When it comes to random ladies that you just want to have sex with, well, I'll say that depends on you, because that kind of relationship, for myself, that kind of relationship is more like an open relationship. What do I mean? You don't necessarily take it serious. You're just there for the sex. So sometimes you can find yourself in a situation whereby she knows, for example, if she does know that you're not necessarily taking her serious, you guys are just there for the fun. In that case, well, I'll use myself as an example. Okay, sometimes it can be just a direct exchange thing. She comes around, each time she comes I give her 10k, and afterwards I don't ever get to talk to her for months. We just know it's sex. So that's a very different case scenario. And once in a while you can assist her with something. That one is more like, it's more like when you need them, you give her something. You understand? The period where you need them, she say you need her next week, you can start by giving her money, just to lead her up to it, to build her up to it and all that. So in that case, it's more or less you're buying her service. Let me use that word. That is the scenario where you're just there for the sex. It's more of like friends with benefit situation. So you can only gauge the kind of how you give out your finances. It all depends, because she knows you just want her for her body. And so she knows you want her for her body, so she's going to want you for your finances. So that means you might sometimes have to give more than you should, because it's a direct value exchange. You understand? So that will all depend on you, largely. But so then if it comes to a situation whereby you guys are just cool friends and you don't necessarily want sex or want a relationship, ladies sometimes can be very exploitive. Because maybe you just like to have her around, she would use that opportunity to always try to see how much resources can extort from you. In that case, guys, be wise. Since you're not necessarily getting anything from her apart from hanging out or you guys just chilling, I would say you should be very strict to your finances. I would say you shouldn't give shishi if possible, because naturally you're not gaining anything from her apart from you guys just chilling. I had such friends when I was in university. They were my classmates, you understand? I did not necessarily want to be in a relationship with them. I did not necessarily want to have sex with them, because I knew most of them had boyfriends and all that. So we're just friends. Because I'm a guy, most times they would just ask, I beg, buy this for me. We were together. So at the point it kind of felt like they were just using me for my money, or they were just exploiting, just like ladies would do, which is normal. So when you find yourself in that situation, please always put a check. Only give out your resources when you feel like. When you don't feel like, be assertive about it, state it categorically, and let her know you're not willing to invest your resources because it's very important to you and it's valuable to you, and there are persons that you rather would go invest your resources on. Because if you put yourself in that shoe, or better still, don't even, if that kind of relationship, it brings about, or leads to a situation whereby it seems like it's parasitic, whereby whenever you guys hang out or you're chilling, you are always the one being exploited financially, you can just as well cut it off, because it's not necessarily beneficial to you. Okay, it's not beneficial to you. Okay, either you do that, or like in the case whereby I could not necessarily cut them off, they were my friends, they were my classmates, the people I had to continuously liaise with in doing assignments, projects, and all that stuff. I just had to state the boundaries clear. Because I'm a guy does not mean I'll be buying you guys, let's say, lunch. Then what we're doing is after class they'll be like, hey, come, let's go eat lunch. And every day I'll take care of it. I'm a guy, and I know I'm not getting sex from them, I'm not getting relationship from them. The point in time I have to state them categorically clear. I can't keep getting you guys lunch. When we get there, when we go out, you all buy your lunch, everybody pay for themselves. So be very assertive at that point in time when you find yourself in that situation that is very platonic. Both parties have nothing to gain apart from just being friends. It's specific. Let them know you can't give out your resources and financial resources. Everybody should more or less take care of their expenses. So yeah, that's what you need to do when you find yourself in that shoe. Okay, so once again, guys, we've come to an end to another tip or session where we're talking about finances, how to handle or give out your finances when dealing with ladies in a relationship. And we'll take out 3 categories. One, when you're in a platonic relationship where you don't have mutual relationship, where you basically do not have any thing to gain apart from just hanging around them. Friendship, basic friendship. We also looked at the situation whereby it's friends with benefits. You give me something in XY quantity, I receive something back in XY quantity. In that case, an equal value exchange. Therefore, your finances, how you spend, cannot necessarily be determined because it's just like you're just basically going out there to buy sex. So look at it in that way. And then another situation which is more common, whereby you are in there for a relationship. How do you spend your money? We stated it clearly. How to leverage the idea of gauging or being in control of how much trust you give out. Based on. And I forgot to say one very important thing. Like I used to tell my ex before, even while we're dating, we're in the early stage. Occasionally I know ladies will sometimes misbehave. I tell her. So take for example, she asked me to do her hair this week, okay? And in that particular week, she decides to, let's say we have an outing, we're supposed to meet on a date, and she flakes, she doesn't come. She comes up with one excuse or the other, and then she postpones the date for next week. And okay, cool, next week, no problem. But within that week, you're supposed to give her money for her hair. And then she comes to me and says, how about the money for the hair? And I'm telling you, hello, don't forget you actually did misbehave by flaking on a date that we have for this week. So by virtue of that, you've not kept to your own end of what you bring to the table, because majorly one of the things that ladies bring to the table is basically themselves, whether we want it or not, whether I want to believe that or not, they bring themselves to the table, and not necessarily anything more than that. So if you find yourself in a situation whereby she was supposed to be with you and then she didn't come around, or one reason or the other, and then within that week you're also supposed to give her some finances, in that case she has misbehaved. You may also decide to delay. You can pick one of these 3 options. You can decide to delay giving her that money, okay, or you can decide to cut half the money you told her you were going to give her, and let her understand that you're doing it because she misbehaved, so it's a kind of punishment. Or the third option, you can decide not to give her completely. But ladies will sometimes throw the card because I did not come, you don't want to give me the money. Well, sometimes it comes to that. You understand? But don't forget, this is even a situation whereby we're already dating. Let's say first 1 month or first 3 weeks of our being in that relationship. So long and short of what I'm saying in this closing stage is, you can also gauge how much you give out resources to a lady you're dating or just started dating by how she behaves along the line. When she misbehaves, you check her by limiting your resources, financial resources. Either you have the resource, or you delay the resource, or you cease giving the resource based on how she behaves. And when you do these actions, you must let her understand that I'm doing this because you did not behave in a way that I found to be good, and this is your punishment. I've been withholding my resources, or I'm halving my resources, or I'm prolonging a day which I was going to give you that said resource. So there should be that kind of understanding between both of you, because she is also using her own, resource, which is herself, as leverage to misbehave. So therefore, you should also somehow be allowed to do the same. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, so please take note of that. When the lady is misbehaving, you should use your resource to check that misbehavior. When she continues to do that same thing that you say you don't like her doing, then you must also limit your resources. It should be reciprocal. It should be directly. It should be vice versa. She can't be misbehaving and you continue to give her the normal resources, the normal financial resources you used to lend her, let's say, on a monthly basis. No, that's not how to do it. You're encouraging that kind of bad behavior. So let's assume some guys are fond of giving their ladies 10k every month for, let's say, hair and every other thing that she requires, which is fine, which is okay. When she misbehaves, you can cut it down to 6 and make her understand that it's her misbehavior or what she did wrong that pissed you off, which you let her understand that that's why you're cutting her resources. So it's, both of you are having your leverages. Ladies do that even sometimes when ladies even do that also to us guys, but we don't realize it. For example, she requests for money from you, and assuming you don't have it at that time, she gets angry and then she doesn't pick your calls. So that's her own way of punishing you. She doesn't pick your calls, or she doesn't come around, she doesn't hang around with you anymore, she doesn't come around to see you or spend time with you, or she doesn't give you sex. Ladies do that. So there's a punishment for you. So when you don't meet your end of the bargain, they always will punish you or check you. So guys should do the same. When they misbehave, or they don't come when you ask them to come, or they don't do one or two things that that it's supposed to be their own end of the bargain, when they don't live up to that, your punishment is your resources. Okay, you limit it, you halve it, or you prolong the duration of which you're supposed to receive it. Okay guys, this is rather lengthy, so I guess I believe you guys have learned one or two things from what I've said. So don't forget to subscribe and apply some of these dating tips to your life and see how you get the result at the long run. Thank you all for listening. Catch you on the next section.